Tali is one of my favorite characters in Mass Effect, but when analyzing her character arc, I discovered she has the most beautifully horrific arc ever, which is directly linked to Shepard. This analysis won't tackle Tali's romance and applies to everyone's playthroughs, because the game itself intimately ties Tali's arc to her worth. Her self-worth to the Quarian race, her father, and especially to Shepard. Tali's loyalty to Shepard is the key to everything, because it's the commander that holds complete control over if Tali is worthy. Let's dive into the beauty and horror of Tali's character arc across all 3 games. First though, we'll begin before Mass Effect 1 with the Geth that kicked off the entire trilogy. Tali's journey starts in 2183 with the beginning of her pilgrimage aboard a Quarian ship. Being a Quarian, she's desperate to find anything of value to bring back to her people aboard the migrant fleet, all because of the Geth War 200 years prior. Prior to the war, the Quarians had built the Geth as artificial intelligences to aid as laborers and tools of war. After their creation though, to the Quarians' dismay, something unexpected happened. The Geth began to ask if they had souls. This question, that implied the Geth were sentient beings, disturbed the Quarians enough that they decided to completely destroy them. However, once the Geth realized their creators wanted them dead, they quickly turned on the Quarians. This war resulted in the Geth taking control of the Quarian homeworld Rannoch, and in the process, the destruction of 99% of the Quarian population. The remaining 1% survived by escaping on starships, which eventually formed the migrant fleet that Tali was born into. And so, because of the tragic Geth War, the Quarians are forced to live aboard a fleet, without a homeworld to return to. In these dark times, the phrase Kila Salai was born, with the translation being, "by the homeworld I hope to see someday." This sentiment of returning to their homeworld drives the Quarians in everything they do, which is why when a Quarian like Tali comes of age, they have to prove themselves on a pilgrimage. If they can bring back something of value to the fleet, they can prove their worth and become a valued member who might eventually bring the Quarians home to Rannoch. Tali's entire worth up to this point will be decided by what she brings back. So with her race's history and prejudices driving her forward, Tali finds a planet with Geth that will change her life forever. After landing planetside, Tali disables one of the nearby Geth, which just so happens to be one of the most important Geth in the trilogy. Tali was simply looking for something Geth-related for her pilgrimage, but what she discovered went far beyond that. After accessing the Geth's memory core, she heard this.
Eden Prime was a major victory. The beacon has brought us one step closer to finding the conduit.
And one step closer to the return of the Reapers.
Now, Tali didn't know anything about Eden Prime or the Reapers, but she did know that whatever the Geth were involved with couldn't be good. So she decided to bring this crucial piece of information to the Council, with the hopes that it would lead to good things for her pilgrimage. After all, as the daughter of an Admiral, she had more pressure to succeed than most Quarians. As one of the top-ranked Quarians, Tali's father, Tali'Zorah, was devoted to the survival of their race. To that end, he also harbored a lifelong dream for Tali to eventually build a home on the Quarians' original homeworld of Rannoch. Because of this, he pushed Tali hard and instilled in her that same desire, but in so doing, also tied Tali's worth to this lifelong dream. Tali wasn't worthy unless she proved herself. She needed to bring back something of value to the flotilla. Otherwise, she simply wasn't worthy to be her father's daughter. And so, with her self-worth tied to her pilgrimage, she went to the Citadel looking to prove that the Geth memory core was something of value. But as soon as she arrived, she encountered resistance everywhere she turned. With Tali being a Quarian, she was automatically viewed by other races as being lesser than. The Quarians unleashed the Geth after all, and they wore strange suits that hide their faces. In their minds, clearly, none of them could be trusted. Facing this discrimination, Tali couldn't find anyone who would allow her an audience with the Council. And on top of this, one of Saren's agents realized she had information that could hurt him, so he began to chase her with a vengeance. With all this going on, Tali turned to the only option she had left: the Shadow Broker. Our Quarian began an email chain with the Shadow Broker, asking to meet her in person in exchange for protection from Saren's agents. The broker agreed, but secretly told his agent, Fist, to kill the Quarian after retrieving the information. This then led to the encounter and Tali's introduction.
Did you bring it?
Where's the Shadow Broker? Where's Fist?
They'll be here. Where's the evidence?
No way. The deal's off.
Everything up until now set up Tali as being integral to the fight against Saren, and at the same time, invaluable to Shepard. So when they finally meet, Tali shares with Shepard the recording that kicks off the entire trilogy. After hearing that Saren's true purpose was to bring the Prothean-killing Reapers back for round 2, Shepard knew that they'd need all the help they could get. And after recruiting Tali, the commander gained an expert engineer who held a desperate vendetta against all Geth. As for Tali, she had an unprecedented opportunity to prove her worth by taking down the Reapers that the Geth so revered. Maybe this way, she would finally be worthy to her race and to her father. But little did Tali know that the journey she was about to go on would lead to her worth being tied to her new commander, Shepard. Upon joining the Normandy, Tali made herself at home in the engineering room, since as a Quarian, she was exceptional with all things ship-related. There, she chatted with Shepard about her race, culture, her father's admiralty, and her rocky relationship with the Geth. Shepard learned about who Tali was as a person, and that her pilgrimage was incredibly important. More than that, though, the commander learned that Tali's people meant everything to her. Even Tali's namesake of Tali'Zorah Nar-Rhea was tied to her people, where the Nar-Rhea represented the Quarian ship she was born on. Upon completion of her pilgrimage, Tali would take up the name of the new ship she'd be assigned to, which would be signified by the word Voss. If Shepard chats with Tali often enough, they both develop a good rapport, and on Tali's part, she gains an ally in a world that rarely shows her kindness. It was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Throughout the chase to find Saren, Tali fights plenty of Geth and slowly acclimates to life on board the Normandy. And eventually, the Normandy's travels bring Shepard and crew to a Geth base that has data of incredible value to Tali. The data includes details of how the Geth have evolved since their split with the Quarians over 200 years ago. To Tali, it represents the perfect gift to complete her pilgrimage and show just how worthy she really is. That is, if Shepard gives the data to her. As Tali's top commanding officer, Shepard has immense power with this decision. In Quarian culture, ship captains have final say in most matters, and anything that concerns the entire race's survival is dealt by the Admiralty Board, Tali's father included. So with this one decision alone, Shepard withholding the Geth data could set Tali back on her pilgrimage and cause her to question why her commander didn't have her back. It was the first time that Shepard's power over Tali could potentially have devastating consequences. However, in this instance, we'll go with the Paragon choice, giving Tali the data, which would allow her to complete her pilgrimage with flying colors. And once Shepard chooses this, it only further solidifies the friendship between the Quarian and her commander. Eventually, Saren is thwarted, and the Reaper's return prolonged, so Tali returns to the migrant fleet with the Geth data, gaining increased status among her people. With her pilgrimage complete, Tali'Zorah Nar-Rhea is gifted with her new name, Tali'Zorah Vas Nima. Her worth, for now, has been recognized by her people. In the years after Shepard's death, she and the rest of the Quarians continued to look for ways to return to their homeworld while building on the fleet they currently had. And in the process, the other Quarians and Tali stumble across the collectors on Freedom's Progress, along with the commander and friend that Tali believed to be dead. When they first run into each other, Tali is shocked to find Shepard alive, and especially that they're now working for Cerberus. The infamous group, led by the Elusive Man, had sabotaged the Quarian flotilla, and was known for its anti-alien philosophies. They went against everything Tali stood for, so when she saw Shepard was working with them, it was confusing to say the least. If Shepard was previously kind to Tali though, she chooses to believe the commander is with Cerberus for a good reason. This is a huge contrast with the Vermeer survivor we encounter later on, who refuses to believe Shepard's affiliation with Cerberus can lead to anything good. Tali's trust in Shepard, so soon after meeting, is the first sign of her loyalty to them, which only continues to grow when they meet again on Haestrom. After a few collector missions, Shepard goes to recruit Tali, who was investigating suspicious Geth activity planetside. After battling the dying sun's heat and a bunch of Geth, Shepard is finally reunited with Tali again, where she reveals some interesting details about the nearby sun. Tali was investigating why Haystrom's son Dolan was aging rapidly, and figured that dark energy was the likely culprit. Now in the next Mass Effect, this dropped dark energy thread is probably coming back in a big way, and if it does, then maybe we'll see Tali again. But I won't go into that theory here. Instead, back in Tali's arc, Tali decides to join Cerberus, making it very clear that she's there for Shepard, not the anti-alien organization. Once again, despite Cerberus's crimes against her flotilla, Tali is willing to put that aside because her loyalty to Shepard is resolute. And during one of the craziest loyalty missions ever, Tali's complete trust in her commander is put to the ultimate test. In an unprecedented trial, Tali is charged with treason against the flotilla and asked to return to the migrant fleet immediately. And in her defense stands Tali's leading officer, Commander Shepard. The upcoming trial for Tali is by far one of the wildest things that could have happened to her. Not only is she charged with treason by the people she loves so dearly, she's accused of the Geth parts she had sent back, leading to their revolt on a Quarian ship. And to top it all off, her father isn't responding from said ship. The worst blow, though, comes when she boards the Rhea, the very ship she was born on. The admirals have decreed that Tali must change her name from Tali'Zorah Vas Nima to Tali'Zorah Vas Normandy, basically damning her as guilty already. Her people are rejecting her, and her actions may have caused the death of her cherished father. The only hope she has left is the commander and friend by her side, to vouch for her when no one else will. To put it lightly, in this trial, Shepard has complete and utter control over Tali's fate. She has no allies, no family, and is basically being stripped of everything that makes her a Quarian. No other companion in this series is so utterly in despair than Tali during this trial. It's a horrifying amount of power for Commander Shepard to wield. And so, with the stakes set, the trial began. The Admiralty Board reveals that the nearby ship, the Alarai, has been taken control of by Geth, and that Tali's father is presumed dead. They refuse to listen to Tali's claims that the Geth parts she sent back to her father were not dangerous though. So Tali and Shepard decide to board the Alarai to prove Tali's innocence, as well as to hopefully save Tali's father. But what they find on board is something that turns Tali's world even further upside down. On the Alarai, it's revealed that Tali'Zorah was doing risky research on the Geth in order to take back the homeworld from them. Unfortunately, his research went terribly wrong, and Rael was killed in the process. Tali is devastated upon finding her father, but at least she has a friend by her side. The final part of the mission provides evidence of Tali's innocence, but it also proves the guilt of her father. Illegally reactivating Geth would destroy Rael's reputation, so even though the evidence could help her, Tali asks Shepard to not use it in the trial. Tali, more than anyone, knows how much Rael's worth to the flotilla meant to him, which he was willing to risk in order to return to Rannoch one day. Tali, though, refused to risk his reputation, despite him being dead, even if it meant throwing her own worth to the flotilla away. With all this in mind, Shepard enters the trial with Tali's innocence and entire life as a Quarian on the line. The commander has a few options on how to prove Tali's innocence, like rallying the crowd if Vitor and Cal Rieger are present, or using Tali's history as proof that she would never betray her people. Or Shepard could present the evidence that damns Tali'Zorah to be stricken from Quarian history. In this moment, Tali fully understands the power Shepard has over so much she holds dear, which she expresses with a glance and a plea.
Did you find anything on the Alarai that could clarify what happened there?
Shepard, please.
Luckily though, according to the Legendary Edition stats from 2021, over 96% of players chose to pardon Tali, and I'm going to assume most didn't use the evidence since the majority of players usually pick Paragon options. Regardless, this moment where Shepard chooses to advocate for Tali without betraying her wish is one of the most beautiful scenes in the trilogy. In one fell swoop, Tali regains her status as a Quarian of the fleet, and remains the proud daughter of former Admiral Tali'Zorah. In their victory, Shepard and Tali's friendship is forever solidified in the most honorable way Tali could choose. She decides to keep her name as Tali'Zorah Vas Normandy, a Quarian proud to be of worth on Shepard's ship. But even though things look to be on the up and up, there is one final confrontation that awaits Tali on board the Normandy. After the trial, if you've also finished Legion's loyalty mission, they both face off in a heated exchange. Tali accuses Legion of attempting to steal flotilla information, while Legion states that he simply wants to warn the Geth of the Quarians' plan to attack them. Tali brings the weight of Quarian history with her, and the added grief of her father being killed by Geth parts she sent to him. If Shepard doesn't want to lose either of their loyalties, they can choose for both sides to stand down, diffusing the situation. But while Tali and Legion have a chance to reconcile for now, the ultimate choice to decide both their fates lies in the trilogy's final act. Amidst the deadliest war in over 50,000 years, Shepard is tasked with uniting the galaxy against the Reapers, and in order to gain the Quarians as allies, the commander has to first help them do the impossible: rescue their homeworld from the heretic Geth, working with the Reapers. With the stakes this high, the admirals of the Migrant Fleet decide to add their best Geth expert as a fellow member of the board. And so, Tali'Zorah Vas Normandy joins the war as one of the highest-ranking officers in the Quarian fleet, with the title of Admiral. However, despite Tali earning the greatest honor a Quarian could have, she reveals to Shepard that she only accepted the position because of her commander.
And at least now, I can push back against the worst ideas. That's why I accepted the position. And because of you.
Me?
When they offered me this position, I asked myself what you'd do. I thought you'd take the chance to make things better. That probably sounds stupid. It's just, I know I'm not really qualified for this.
Even after reaching the highest peak, Tali still says she's unqualified. Despite everything she's accomplished, she doesn't deem herself worthy. But even with her imposter syndrome running rampant, she still found a way to lead by asking herself a question. What would Commander Shepard do? It was the ultimate sign of respect a friend could give. Tali's loyalty and friendship to Shepard here further solidifies their relationship as one of best friends. And of course, as all best friends do, Shepard is there when Tali gets completely drunk via straw, aka emergency induction port. During one of Tali's lowest moments, or highest depending on your point of view, she laments about how Miranda had the courage to defy her father and not let him control her life. While Tali, on the other hand, had spent her whole life trying to live up to her father's expectations and dreams. It's a moment that captures how she, despite being incredibly exceptional, constantly struggled with self-worth in the shadow of her father. Even after his death, she continues to push towards his dream of building a house on the Quarian homeworld of Rannoch. And after Tali sobered up, she finally got that chance. A chance to fulfill their dream with her first steps in the light of Rannoch. After landing on Rannoch for the first time, Tali is amazed at standing on the sacred ground of her ancestors. She half-jokingly claims a bit of land, with the hope that she can have a home there after the war is finished. And beside her is her closest friend and confidant, Commander Shepard, who helped lead her to this moment on Rannoch. The dream that she had inherited from her father and repeated with every exclamation of Keelah Se'lai was finally complete. She had finally made her father proud. But despite this, there was one final test for both Tali and Shepard to face together: the fate of the Geth and Quarian people. After joining forces with the Quarian fleet, Shepard manages to take down a Reaper, earning a well-fought victory. However, this win was very short-lived, because soon after, part of the Quarian fleet made a move to fire on the Geth still planet side. Shepard was then faced with the ultimate choice: Quarians or Geth, organics or AIs, one friend or the other. What would Commander Shepard do? A question that, depending on the commander's choices, can alter the fate of our Quarian companion forever. If Shepard chooses the Geth side, it's a horrifying decision that betrays Tali's friendship in the worst way possible. Tali watches the entire migrant fleet burn in Rannoch's atmosphere, effectively destroying the Quarian race. Utterly filled with despair, she removes her mask, whispering, "I'm sorry," before falling from the cliffs of her homeworld. In her final act, Tali doesn't respond to Shepard with anger. She responds with continued loyalty towards a friend who betrayed her, apologizing because she knows Shepard will miss her. It's potentially one of the most tragic moments in the series. But because of the tragedy that awaits in one choice, beauty lies in the other. If Shepard did every Quarian and Geth mission possible, along with countless other decisions tied to Tali and Legion, the commander has the chance to save both races. In a speech for the ages, Shepard convinces the Quarian fleet to hold fire so that Legion can upload the Reaper code that allows free will for all Geth. With a final plea of Keela Salai, Shepard manages to convince the Quarians not to fire, and the Geth finally achieve full consciousness. In this moment of victory, Tali is faced with a question of her own, which she answers from the heart.
Do you remember the question that caused the creators to attack us, Tali'Zorah? Does this unit have a soul?
Legion, the answer to your question was yes.
I know, Tali. But thank you. Keela Salai.
Before Legion's final act, Tali gives him what had eluded her throughout her whole life: the validation that Legion's life was worth it, that he was worthy of having a soul and being alive. As Legion completes his sacrifice, Tali shares one final moment on Rannoch with her best friend.
It is beautiful, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Tali's arc perfectly captures what undying loyalty can lead to. She grew from a naive Quarian on pilgrimage to an admiral worthy of the title. Her arc encapsulated the feeling of the trilogy's hardest choices, which could lead to the best and worst outcomes. Tali's loyalty to Shepard gives them the power to destroy her race, her family, and ultimately, her worthiness. But at the same time, it gives Shepard the power to give Tali the world. It's beautiful and horrifying. It's the power of true friendship. Tali's loyalty to Shepard is one of the strongest in the trilogy, but it is matched by one other companion, that of course being Garrus Vakarian. Watch this video next to discover why Garrus's hidden history ultimately made him Shepard's best squadmate ever. See you there.